First question here. First comment, I guess. From Joke and Joe. Joke and Joe, prankster. He says, I have over 1 Bitcoin, but I occasionally buy tiny fractions like 50,000 sats because I realize how scarce this is and what the price will be. Those 50,000 sats could be life-changing money for someone 20 or 30 years from now. So a couple things there that I wanted to point out. I like look at all the comments every Friday morning or Thursday afternoon, and I kind of go through the comments that we can expand on a little bit. So this one, first of all, Joke and Joe. You never tell, the first rule of Bitcoin, you never tell anybody how much Bitcoin you have. That's number one. I mean, you might do things differently. I'm never going to tell you what to do. But I think the best practice for the average person who doesn't have armed guards outside the house is just never tell anybody how much Bitcoin you have. Anybody. Not your brother, not your dad, not your cousin when you're drunk at a wedding. Nobody. Just don't ever say it to anybody out loud. And even better practice than that is don't even know how much Bitcoin you have. Just set up some wallets, exchange every fiat dollar that you can for Bitcoin, accumulate it, think long-term, 5 years, and just earn and accumulate as many sats as possible. And then I don't know if you ever have to figure out how much you have. Just get out of that mindset of switching to Bitcoin and wanting to get X amount of Bitcoin, and then you're just going to go back to the fiat world. No, just every dollar you make every excess dollar you have, convert it to Bitcoin. Start setting up ways to earn sats, whatever that is, whatever you can do. We're going to talk about a few things today, and then just keep growing it. You don't have to. Looking at your Bitcoin amount of Bitcoin is very similar to like checking the scale every day. If you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to gain weight, if you're looking at the scale every day, you're going to be very discouraged, I think. Look over it, just do the work, go through the process, and then at the end of it, you might never have to know how much Bitcoin you have. Just make sure that it's safe. That's the key. If you have any Bitcoin right now, you're way ahead of most people on this earth. So don't worry about how much you have, or don't tell anybody how much you have, even if you know. But the second part there, he says, I occasionally buy tiny fractions like 50,000 sats because I realize how scarce this is. Yes, he says 50K sats could be life-changing money for someone in 20 or 30 years from now. Absolutely. It could be less than that. I mean, when Bitcoin gets to 1 sat equals $1, then you got $50,000 worth of purchasing power right there. And what is $50,000 of purchasing power by today? I mean, that would do a hell of a lot for me right now. I'd probably buy a truck. So you got 50,000 sats that you bought back in 2024 for what would that be, like $50? And if you go in with a long enough time frame, long enough horizon there, that's going to buy you some serious shit, because as we talked about yesterday, everybody is going to want what you're holding. Everybody on earth. Not everybody in this local area here, not everybody in your country, everybody on earth is going to want that asset. So it's not a matter of if that happens, it's really when that happens.